Welcome to Will's Low Production Value Cocktail Show, starring Will. Today's cocktail is the Sazerac. Hi, I'm Will, and welcome to Will's Low Production Value Cocktail Show. Today I'm joined by two special guests all the way from Nashville, my friends Eric and Caroline. You guys want to say hi?
Hello.
Hey, y'all.
So, as the title cards indicated, today we're making the Sazerac, which is a drink from, I think, the 1860s in New Orleans. It's sort of like a riff on an old-fashioned. If you were, the recipe we're going to make now uses rye whiskey instead of brandy, but the rye whiskey variations are very, very similar to what would have been called a improved whiskey cocktail at the time. So anyways, as I mentioned, we're going to be making it with rye. I'm using Sazerac rye because it's in the name, and I have a bottle of it at home. But use your favorite rye whiskey. Something like Rittenhouse would be good. If you're in Canada, Alberta Premium's always my go-to. Anyways, use a good rye. The special ingredient that sort of makes it different from a regular old-fashioned is the addition of Peychaud bitters, which is sort of an anisey bitter, sort of similar in aromatics to Angostura, but obviously have a really cool color. And I think these are also made by the Sazerac company, which is distributed by Buffalo Trace. The next ingredient is absinthe or Absinthe, which I've got in a cool little atomizer bottle here. Use a good absinthe. This is some Canadian absinthe in here, but if you have Absinthe, if you're in a country that doesn't have absinthe availability, you can probably get Absinthe, and it's really, really good and delicious. Anyways, now we're going to build this drink. So firstly, I guess, I've got a glass chilling. This cocktail is served up, so you really want to chill your cocktail glass ahead of time. I'm using a slanted glass. You want to sort of keep it towards slanted, or like exactly whatever that would be, vertical, vertical walls, because that way this drink is all about like the nose, and so you want to have like a large area for diffusion, so you want to like get a lot of evaporation, then you want to concentrate that when you start to smell it. So anything that's tapered inwards is actually a really good addition to this drink. So I'm going to build it in my mixing glass I have here. I'm going to add maybe 1 teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons of simple syrup. You can add a sugar cube or use a sugar cube if you want. It doesn't really matter. They're both pretty much the same. And then I'm going to add 4 or 5 good dashes of the Peychaud bitters. Really don't be shy. You want that like cool pinkish color, and you really want to get that like anise flavor across from the Peychauds. I'm going to do something that's a bit unconventional, but I think it really rounds the drink out, and I'm going to add a single solitary dash of Angostura to this. You don't really want to add too much, but you really want that sort of like spiciness, and it really, I don't know, it rounds it out somehow and it makes it really, really special. Oh, I'll be back in a second. Forgot my jigger. So I'm going to measure 2 ounces of rye into this guy. Gonna spill it everywhere. And I'm gonna fill this with ice. And I forgot a stirring spoon, so I'm just gonna stir it with my fingers. I wanna give this guy a fair bit of dilution like this, like give it maybe, oh, I don't know, like 15, 30 seconds. You notice when the ice like sort of falls down and gets seated in there that you're getting pretty close to it being good. And if you hold the side, you can actually feel when it starts getting cold. So this guy's pretty good. I'm going to let it sit there for a bit. I'm going to discard my ice from there, and I'm going to spritz it with that absinthe I was talking about. If you don't have an atomizer like this, just use like a 1/4 ounce of absinthe and sort of like roll it around in the glass, and either discard or drink the rest, because absinthe is delicious and expensive and you don't really want to waste too much. I'm going to give it a few more. So now I'm going to strain this guy to our cocktail glass and garnish with a lemon peel. You really want to make sure you get as much lemon oil as possible in this drink. Like lemon is really, really, really helps just like brighten everything up, makes everything super, super special and pleasant. Rub it around the rim. And some people are like particular about dropping the lemon peel in or not. I think you always should just drop the lemon peel in. There you go. It's how I like a Sazerac. Now I'm going to throw it at Eric and Caroline, who got their own recipe they want to talk about quickly.
Cheers, Will.
First.
Yeah. So we actually took a little bit of a different take on this. We happen to have a really good bar book, and it had a couple of extra recipes for the Sazerac. So we made something called a Devil Inside, and it's a similar take. All the basics are the same, except it uses heated scotch as a rinse and just adds the absinthe to the actual cocktail. You still get a very similar flavor, but the nose changes a little bit, and you get that really smoky note, which I really like.
Yeah, I think it adds a nice finish to the drink, but you still get some of that like NSA flavor in there. We didn't do Angostura in ours; we just did Peychauds. Still about like 4 or 5 hefty dashes per drink. And then for our rye, we went with kind of just what we had lying around the house. We had an American rye called 1776. It's good. It's got a nice like spice to it. So I think it goes really well with the combination of the peat from the scotch. We did little twists in ours. They weren't quite as impressive as yours, but we toasted them beforehand as well, just to kind of keep going with the smoky notes. And in place of, I've seen some recipes that do Cognac in addition to the rye, and we just did actually a little bit of a lighter bodied scotch to go with that as well. So it's pretty, never made it before tonight, but it's pretty good.
Turned out well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds delicious, guys. Cool. Thanks so much for joining me. I guess this has been Will's Low Production Value Cocktail Show, and I'll see you next time.